2022, after renovating our first home for 3 years, we decided it was time to pursue something different and put into reality the bigger dreams we had for our lives. We craved to live life differently, to raise our kids with a love of the outdoors, animals, hard work, and building something. We talked about it in January, listed our house in the city in February, sold in March, and moved our family of 4 in April. We didn't grow up this way, but our love of the outdoors and gardening was cultivated through our childhoods, and we've always been drawn to this lifestyle. Back when we were selling our home, we didn't actually know where we would end up, just that it was time to make the move. We knew we wanted land, but our options were limited. Each time Darren sent me this listing for this property, I had turned it down. I thought it was just too far away from the city. At that time, I thought it'd be better to stay in the city than move that far away. But what I found was each time I looked at city listings, it felt like we would be taking a step backwards. So we eventually went to see the acreage, and sure enough, we made an offer and it was accepted. This property is 44 acres of mostly untouched land. There were times when we didn't think it would work, but as things tend to happen, at the last hour, it all came together. We signed papers on April 20th and got possession on April 22nd. We got to work almost immediately. There were 2 large sea cans for storage, a small wood pallet enclosure with a metal shed, and the house. There was no garden, no outbuildings, and only about an acre or less was cleared for the driveway, front yard, and backyard. In the first week, we turned the metal shed around and turned it into a chicken coop, and brought home 4 chickens, 2 roosters, and a duck. We then made a mobile chicken coop for the yard and bought 6 laying hens and 1 rooster. 2 weeks after that, we brought home 6 8-week-old chicks that would grow and become part of our laying hen flock.
So we are getting grass in that box, and there were spiders in that box.
It was exciting to be able to harvest old, dead, dry grass from the property for bedding in the coops. We then had someone come with a tractor and till up the hard clay ground in the backyard for a 26 by 49 foot vegetable garden, and we used logs found on the property to build a greenhouse. We kept costs minimal and only bought clear plastic for the walls and polycarbonate sheets for the roof. We brought in 20 yards of soil to help grow our garden and also spread across the front yard as it was completely hard-packed clay that was bare and didn't seem to grow much.
Did they vibrate it on purpose or does it just do that? That's cool.
I had started tomatoes and peppers while we were still in the city, and they've grown well this year. We moved them into our greenhouse on Victoria Day weekend. A couple weeks after that, we bought 100 bare root strawberry plants, which we put inside and outside the greenhouse for a strawberry patch that will hopefully keep on giving next year if I can successfully overwinter them. In the same week, we also traded eggs from our chickens for 12 raspberry plants and planted them along the tree line in the front yard, which we hope will spread as fast as they say raspberries do, so we can have an abundance of them each summer. Over the course of the summer, and as we started exploring more of the property, we found many more plants, including wild raspberries, Saskatoons, black currants, and gooseberries.
Just eat that and it will be good.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
We created an area right next to the garden and greenhouse for a compost pile and made a walking path leading to what would eventually be pasture. We created a layout of the property and where we wanted to develop footpaths and larger paths, and also where we want to expand the small pond that's hidden away in the bush. We love that we are able to develop this piece of land to be functional for our plans. We love the trees and the birds and the untouched nature that we see on a daily basis while still having our home site. We love our daily chores, letting the chickens out, feeding and watering them, building things that will provide for us for the rest of our lives and for our children as they grow up. And hopefully one day for them to reap the harvest that we are working for today. We got our first eggs from our chickens and had fun exploring some of the property. There is still over 30 acres we have not even laid eyes on. We have dreamed even bigger than we ever thought since arriving here. The opportunities are endless, and we will thankfully be very busy for a long time here on our homestead. On May 1st, we put 42 eggs into the incubator. We excitedly candled them and watched them move in the eggs, and 21 days later, we had 32 little chicks hatch out. We did another hatch right away after that and had 22 chicks hatch. We planned to let them grow and use extra roosters for soups, stews, and pies, or to sell to put back into our chicken fund. We set up a makeshift brooder out of a sturdy barbecue box, and I tried my hand at building another mobile coop. It works, but it ain't pretty. We let the little babies grow, and by the end of summer, we had built a larger insulated chicken coop for all of our chickens to spend the winter together. On June 2nd, we got another 11-week-old chicks and 3 ducklings that were so much more fun to watch than I ever thought. We enjoyed letting them out and bringing them down to our pond, and after watching it almost completely dry up, we got heavy rain for 2 days that deep soaked the garden and filled that little pond right back up. The ducks just loved it.
This thing fills right up when we get rain. It was almost dry yesterday. Oh, they love it. Brooks.
On June 16th, we brought home 2 Emden goslings that we intended to raise as guard geese. We were happy to be able to put them in with our 3-day-old chicks and surprised, of course, at how quickly they grew. Very soon, we ended up moving them out with our full-grown chickens and ducks, who they also outgrew. It was funny to watch the 3 ducks and 2 geese follow each other around the yard, one right after the other.
They look like they're having a good time. They're a lot more hardy than chickens, that's for sure. The chickens still need heat for another week at least before they can come out for the first time. It's sure a lot of fun. They're super cute.
We completed all the hatching we wanted to do for the year on July 9th, when we hatched 32 more chicks to add to our laying flock. Through the summer, we had a main coop with older laying hens, a smaller chicken tractor we used as an outdoor brooder for young chicks on heat, and another chicken tractor we used for juvenile-aged chickens that were still too young to be moved out into the adult pen. We decided to let the first 32 chicks we ever hatched begin to free range at 9 weeks old. The first time we let them out, we corralled them and made them stay in a small radius and not go in the bush. Eventually, I told myself they'll either come back or they won't, and we let them go. Now we have chickens all over the yard, and they all come back at night to their coop.
My Pretty boy. Hey guys.
On June 11th, after much consideration, we bought a tractor. This allowed us to clear 1 acre of the dense bush so we could create some pasture for the years to come. We kept the walking path that I've loved since we moved here and the forest on either side while creating a pasture that's hidden away from the public eye. We completed the insulated chicken barn on August 28th and moved all but our baby chicks into it on the same day. It was an adjustment having the chickens further away from the house, but also appreciated when we gained some space back in our yard.
There's
Yes, you can have to be formatted for it.
It's everyone.
On July 4th, we brought home 46 Cornish cross chickens to raise for meat. We couldn't believe the size difference between the Cornish cross meat birds versus the laying breed chicks we hatched at the same time. Even just holding one was mind-blowing how heavy they were. We lost 3 early on and butchered 1 early at 7 weeks, weighing 2 pounds due to a leg injury, and then butchered 1 more at 8 weeks, which was 4 pounds. It was a very unique experience raising chickens for meat and watching the differences in behavior versus the egg-laying breeds. We tend to think of them as Frankenstein birds because they're not very pretty and basically just live to eat. It's no wonder they get to be so big in only 8 weeks' time. Over the course of a few weeks, we got them all butchered the old-fashioned way, plucking each one by hand. Their final weights were between 3 and 6 pounds.
Yep.
Can you do it, Brooks? Do you want some help? A little bit of help? Okay. Thank you.
We harvested potatoes starting in July and on through September, along with lots of fresh carrots, peas, beets, beans, Swiss chard, and a few zucchinis. A few other things tried to grow, but we'll have to learn how to better protect them next year from insects. All of our tomatoes came off the plant small and green, although the plants themselves were huge. We want to build a second garden somewhere on the property and continue expanding what we're able to grow here. I would love to one day provide fresh, homegrown produce for my own community. Each day we settle into more of a routine that becomes more natural. It's simple, and yet we often don't do all the things we set out to do in a day. We are stopping to smell the roses, slowing down and being present with our family. We have to remember that many things, if any, are ever built in a single day, or even a season, or even a year. We want to do so many things, but we know it will be many years before we feel like it is a completed project. We can't wait to plan and work and once in a while sit back and marvel at our accomplishments. We can't wait to watch our children grow up here, and we still can't believe it's ours. Every day that we get to be here is the best day. There was a time where we truly didn't believe we would be here right now, that it would take many more years before we could have this life. So you better believe we're going to live life to the fullest and appreciate every moment.
Ow, did he get you?
And as they say, those who plant the seeds will reap the harvest. And let me tell you, we are in a season of much planting.